This movie is for Unit 8, Learning Target 1, Classify, Add, Subtract Polynomials. Polynomials have names and degrees. So terms are held together by multiplication and division. Our addition and subtraction separates terms. So 3x squared y minus 2x cubed y, these are two different terms because subtraction and addition separate terms. But multiplication and division hold them together. So this is 3 times x squared times y, so that's a term right there. Monomials are an expression that is a number, a variable, or a product of a number and one or more variables. There are no variables in the denominator. Keep that in mind. Binomials are 2 terms, prefix bi for 2. Trinomials are 3 terms, prefix tri. Polynomials are what we call many terms. So anything beyond a trinomial we call polynomial. So pause the movie, circle the monomials, and press play when you are finished. We can see in the first one that this guide sends it to the denominator, 3x to the 55 over y to the 4th. That is not a monomial because you have a variable in the denominator. This guy is not a monomial because you have a variable in the denominator. This guy is a binomial because you have subtraction in between. This guy we could simplify. There's no addition or subtraction inside. We would get 2 squared, a to the 10th, b to the 4th, c squared. So that is a monomial. This guy, because of that plus in between, is not a monomial. And this guy is a monomial because you just have multiplication between the terms. A degree of a monomial is the sum of the degrees of each of its variables. The degree of a non-zero constant term is 0, and the constant 0 does not have a degree. So let's find the degree of this polynomial. So what I like to do is separate this with addition and subtraction. You can see that I have 3 terms. We call this a trinomial. A degree is just the power of the variables. The degree of this term is 2. The degree here, that's a 3 and that's a 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So the degree of that one is 4. Here, there's nothing there, so it's a 1. Now, to get the degree of the polynomial, you're looking at 2, 4, and 1, and the largest one is the 4. So the degree of this polynomial is 4. You take the highest of the degrees of each of the individual terms. So pause the movie, try to find the degrees of each of these polynomials, and press play when you are finished. So, in looking at this, we have a degree here of 5. The degree here in this term is 3. Again, the subtraction and the addition separating all of our terms. The degree here is 1. And because this is a constant, the degree is 0. So the degree of the polynomial degree is the highest of those, which is going to be 5. So that is a 5th degree polynomial. This one is 4, this one is 2, and this one is 1. So the degree here is 4. So this one is a trinomial degree of 4. So the terms that I've been using, you can find here. The degree, if the degree is 0 of our polynomial, then we're dealing with a constant. So an example of that is 8. If we have a degree that is 1, then we're dealing with a linear equation. Here's an example, 4x minus 2. If we have an equation that has a degree of 2, then we have a quadratic equation, like this one, 3x squared minus x plus 7. If we have a degree that is 3, then we have what's called a cubic. And then a 4th degree, 5th degree, so on and so forth. We've already used these terms. Monomials, 1 term. Binomials, 2 terms. So 2x minus 4 is a binomial. A trinomial, 3x squared plus 2x minus 1, that's a trinomial. And a polynomial is more than those terms. Name each based on degree and number of terms for each polynomial. let me do the first one with you, and then you can try the other two on your own. This top one, number of terms, it's separated by addition and subtraction. So I have 1, 2, 3 terms. So we call that a trinomial. The degree here, the degree of this one is 3, this one is 2, and this one is 0. So the degree of the polynomial is 3. Pause the movie, try the next two, and press play when you are finished. All right, this one, number of terms, is 3. Degree, this is 2, 1, and 0, so the degree is 2. Number of terms, 1, 2, 3, 4. Degree, this is 4, this is 3, this is 1, and this is 0, so the degree is 4. So this guy we call a trinomial, and this guy is a polynomial. Name each based on degree and number of terms. Pause the movie, try this on your own, and press play when you are finished. We have 1, 2, 3 terms, so it's a trinomial. Now the degree of this term is the 5 plus 2. So that one is 7, this one is 1, and this is 0. So it's a 7th degree trinomial. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. This is a degree of 11, a degree of 5, a degree of 13, and a degree of 1. So this is a 13th degree polynomial. This one is 1, 2, 3, 4 terms. This has a degree of 11, 8, 12, and 2. So the degree here is 12. It's the highest of the terms. Write polynomials, terms in descending order by degree. So if you are right to write your answer in what we call standard form, and for this whole unit you will need to write your answers in standard form, you need to do decreasing by degree. So if I look at the last problem we did, this was a degree of 11, this was a degree of 8, degree of 12, and a degree of 2. I have to start with this term first. 7, a to the 8, b to the 4th. Because that's the highest degree. My next highest degree is this term. So I will do, because there's nothing right here in front of the 9, it is a positive 9. So it's plus 9, a to the 9th, b squared. My next one is this one, but don't forget about the minus. So it's minus a to the 5th, b cubed. And then my last one is this term, minus ab. So for standard form, we write our polynomials descending by degree. For the next part of this, I would like to skip the 2 word problems and go down to this one, because what I want to show you is how to add and subtract polynomials. When you finish this movie, I would like you to go back through and do these 2 word problems. All right. We're going to write this in simpler form. Notice we have this polynomial subtract this polynomial. When you subtract polynomials, you are subtracting each of the terms in the second one. So what you do is you rewrite the first one, x cubed minus 3x squared plus 5x. But when you distribute the negative into the next one, you are multiplying a negative into each one. It becomes negative 7x cubed, negative 1, it's really a negative 1 there, times 5x squared is minus 5x squared, and then a negative 1 times negative 12 is plus 12. So when you subtract 2 polynomials, you have to distribute the negative 1 into each term of the second. Then you need to add your like terms. So I have a degree of 3, a degree of 2, a degree of 1, degree of 3, degree of 2, degree of 0. And notice I have x cubed here and a negative x cubed here. Those are 2 like terms. So this has a coefficient of 1. I'm doing 1 plus negative 7, which is negative 6x cubed. Then for a degree of 2, I've got negative 3x squared, negative 5x squared, and negative 3 plus negative 5 is negative 8x squared. Then I have plus 5x and plus 12. That is how you add or subtract polynomials and then rewrite it in standard form, descending by degree. When you're doing an addition problem with polynomials, it is a simple, I'm going to skip to this next one over here. It is a simple just adding your like terms. So here I'm adding these two polynomials. So I really have t squared minus 6 plus 3t squared plus 11. T squared plus 3t squared, this has a coefficient of 1, so I have 3 plus 1 is 4t squared. Negative 6 plus 11 is going to give me 11 minus 6 plus 5. So you simplify by adding your like terms together. So when you're adding, there is nothing to distribute, like that one. When you're subtracting, you must distribute in order to simplify. Let's look at this one. I have the first polynomial minus the second one. So what I need to do is distribute a negative 1 into each of these terms. So I get v cubed plus 6v squared minus v minus 9v cubed plus 7v squared minus 3v. So I need to add my like terms. I've got v cubed minus 9v cubed, negative 8v cubed. I have 6v squared plus 7v squared, so that's 13v squared. Minus v minus 3v is a minus 4v because I'm doing a negative 1 plus negative 3. So this is my standard form for the answer of this equation. What I would like you to do now is go back through and do the questions that we've not done. This slide, this one, and the 2 word problems on the other page. And then you can be done with the lesson. That's all for the movie.